Welcome to PK Woodworking, and it's been a couple of weeks, but I was at AWFS in Vegas for the show, and I got a couple of shirts and stuff, and got to see some cool stuff. A lot of people have already commented on AWFS. It was definitely a smaller show than I've ever been to from them before, but there was a couple of cool things that were there that I really kind of enjoyed. One of them was Shaper. They have their new CNC connection for the Shaper Origin, which was really cool. And they had a great show special, so I'm waiting for mine to show up. And then there was some other couple great things going on. Felder had a cool new wide belt sander in their booth that now has a touch screen on it, which I thought was pretty cool. SEM had some stuff that was like their more base kind of models in somebody's booth, which was really cool to see those. Man, that air handler turns on whatever it feels like, doesn't it? A few other companies that I thought were kind of cool there, and some small mom and pop kind of companies that were there showing some stuff. But again, it was way smaller than I think normal. I gave myself 2 days to walk the whole space, and that only took a day. And I probably stretched the day that I was there already. It just wasn't as impressive as, like, say, IWF is. And if you're on the East Coast and you can go to IWF is definitely significantly larger than AWFS is now, if that's the way it stays. A lot of people have been saying this, but man, I really wish we could get smaller woodworking shows back together. I think it would be great to see people doing stuff like that, but that's here nor there. So since then, I do have a couple of projects I still need to complete. One of them is back there, which is the clamp system for my clamp table, to be able to clamp wood instead of fit down to the face frame, but to clamp actually and glue wood. So I haven't finished that yet. And then I've got a couple of things to clean up around here, but I got some significant news to kind of break on the channel, and it's kind of weird to do this. And I'm not trying to make this about, me or my family or whatever, but unfortunately we've got a kind of a significant life change that's kind of happened because of some stuff that just happened with my wife's health. We're gonna have to move. And so we're gonna change kind of our entire lifestyle. So my kids are in their last year of college. I have triplets, if you didn't know that already, if I'm looking around and the stuff that I do. But I have triplets. 2 of them are in their last year of college. And the third one, he's kind of high functioning autistic, and he'll be staying with me forever. The other 2 kids, they're gonna probably be on their own starting next year anyway. So we're gonna move to a house that's a single story. It's got a place that I can take care of my wife in long term, some support structure, family and stuff around to be able to help. And luckily, in the work I do, I can live in a lot of different places and still do what I do. So that kind of helps. The place that I'm moving to, and I know what you're all thinking, you just built this shop, like what the H? Like, hey, life throws lemons at you and you gotta make lemonade as fast as you can sometimes, and so that's what we're gonna do. Somebody will end up with either a great ADU or they'll end up with a great shop, whatever we choose to do here. I'm not sure exactly yet, but we've already bought the house, and the house that we're buying has an RV garage that's attached to a 3-car tandem garage. Planning on putting a mezzanine in part of the RV garage because the RV garage has 17-foot ceilings. And so probably half of the RV garage will end up with a mezzanine, and then the rest will be on the ground. My biggest challenge is that the slope of the floor in this RV garage is just insane. Running up against the builder doesn't want to change that, which I understand, I guess, somewhat. So I'm probably gonna have to come in after the fact and probably pour concrete on top of the concrete floor. It's a post-tension slab, complete structure. So all of the floor is monolithically poured when they do these, and the actual floor of the garage is also post-tension slab, which a lot of places that do post-tension slab, they post-tension slab the rest of the home, but they don't do the garage. But this particular one, they do it all. So I can't like cut the garage floor out and then start over. I'd have to just pour on top. So if there's any structural engineers out there that watch my stuff and want to let me know, or give me a deal on making sure that what I'm doing for my mezzanine is structurally correct, and or what I'm gonna do for pouring that concrete on top of the concrete, which a lot of concrete people say that that's no big deal. They do it in garages all the time. It's just gonna be a lot of concrete. So I'm just looking to get somebody to tell me it's okay. It's gonna be a lot of moving and stuff. This isn't gonna happen probably until the beginning of next year. They're still building the place. So we won't be moving till sometime probably the beginning of next year. But there's gonna be a lot of stuff about moving and setting up this place and getting ready for that next one. And that's a lot of the videos are gonna be. I do have to finish some stuff. So that's what I was saying. I'm gonna finish some things here before I move. But then, hey, I'd like to document what it looks like to get a rigger and to get riggers to move some of my bigger machines. I mean, I just had this SCM saw delivered here. I've already talked to SCM, they're awesome. They said that they can help me with that. I talked to some people from Raingate who move some big stuff and that I've been a pretty good customer of, and they said they have ways to help me. My older brother is a machinist that runs these giant CNC machines, and they use riggers that they're pretty happy with. So I'm gonna think about all that stuff. But I think most of my small machines, I mean, I think everything except for my wide belt sander, my joiner planer combo, and the SCM sliding table saw, I think the rest of the stuff I probably can do myself with a liftgate truck to move, but I think these other ones are big enough that I don't really want to put myself in that place of moving it and damaging it. So I'm gonna get a quote before I do anything else on that stuff. But the rest of the stuff I think is small enough and light enough. Like most of this stuff is the rest of the stuff, like my Hoffman, like my Maggi, like my FD250. All those smaller machines are all in the 500-pound range, which is easy enough to get up on a lift gate. The Kundig back there is over 1,000 pounds, but it's kind of a compact footprint. So I feel like I can get it on a lift gate that can do 1,500 or 2,000 pounds and get that into the back of there with a pallet jack. The only dilemma is really, I'm getting kind of to the point where I wanted to be able to just move this from here directly to the new place. I don't know that I'll have the concrete in the shop done, and it'll have to like cure. It really will depend on whether or not I can turn this into an ADU or if it needs to just stay a shop. We'll find out from the city sooner or later. But if we can turn it into an ADU, then I'll probably be moving this stuff earlier than later. If it's just gonna be a shop that I'm gonna sell to somebody and I need to strip everything out of here that I'm gonna reuse, then I can wait till probably later when that concrete's poured. We'll find that when we get here. But I will tell you the stuff that I know I'm gonna take. I'm gonna take everything. So I'll take the lighting, I'll take the sound, I'll take the dust collection, I'll take the phase perfect. Everything will come out of here pretty much that I can use. I'm gonna put a little link up here, but I think it's Pixel Woodworks. He talked about using a cable tray system for his 3-phase. And I think that I'm gonna do that in this new shop. One cool thing about the company that's doing it, it's a huge company that manufactures houses all over the country. I was super lucky that they agreed to give me 400 amps. So I'm paying extra for it, but I'm getting 400 amp service brought to the house. I'm pretty much taken care of from the power perspective there. And thank God that energy is way cheaper where I'm moving to than it is here. But as part of that, I also structured all of the outlets, the wiring, everything I could do ahead of time as part of the build process because they had a massive discount that they were offering at the time, and I took advantage of it. They're gonna put all the wiring in the walls for the 120 that I need everywhere. There's 22 quad plugs throughout that shop, and there's all gonna be the same in-ceiling speakers, all that other kind of stuff is all gonna be set up. All the lighting and everything is all set up for. The only thing that's gonna be left is any 220 or 223 phase circuits. And so the cable tray system that he talked about is gonna work out, I think, perfectly for me. I'll just come out right next to where that phase perfect is gonna be at, and then I'll put in those 7 different plugs and run a SJOOW cord in those cable trays to wherever I need to in the shop, and I think it'll be great because I can use it to move things wherever I need to, if I need to. Yeah, I'm in the early stages of kind of wrapping my head around the move part of it. You know, the stuff for my wife and for the family and all that kind of stuff, you know, it's really a bummer. I mean, it's not great news in any way, shape, or form, but got a lot of support around me, and people have been pretty awesome so far, including where I work for. Again, like, we're gonna make as much lemonade, my wife and I, out of the lemons as we possibly can. Get there as soon as we can and enjoy as much as we can. We'll be doing woodworking again there. I don't know if it'll be the same like plan of having a business or not some point in time, like maybe in the future, like way out in the future, but I think I'm gonna have my hands full of other stuff in the meantime. But I will be getting out into the shop and doing woodworking and making videos because I enjoy doing that stuff. I just don't know if my plan on switching to more project-based videos or not is gonna work yet. Maybe in the future, but not right now. So what you can expect from me going forward is a lot more videos about the shop, consolidating what I've got, probably some moving like strategies about how to get the stuff where you wanna get it, and then going through some of the rigging stuff and what it costs. I'll be really transparent about the cost stuff as it goes, about what it costs to get this stuff moved. If I do by a really like professional company, it's like, hey, what does it take? If they show up at your home and they've got a forklift and they lift the stuff, there's that thing again. God, never stop. I'll be transparent as I can about somebody showing up here with a forklift, how I would package or not package all of these machines based on what they tell me to do, and how they get it onto, maybe they're gonna use a big 52-foot flatbed trailer and they'll cover the thing completely with a tight tarp and they'll take it, you know, where I'm going. Where I'm going is, you know, 300 and change miles from here. I'm moving, if you didn't, I mean, I'll just say I'm moving to Nevada. So it's not super far, but it's not super close. It's not something where I think it would be feasible for me to move these big machines myself. I thought about buying a tilt deck trailer or a drop deck trailer and trying to do some of these things myself. And then I looked at some of the measurements of these things. I probably could do my joiner planer combo, but the problem is the way you fork it and get it on and off is a challenge. But this one probably is possible to do, this joiner planer combo that happens to be right here in front of me. It's possible to do probably on a drop deck trailer. But the table saw, it's just, even if I took it apart, I'm looking at the width of this thing is like over 6 feet wide. And most of those drop deck trailers, that's about all you can get in them. Because they have these side walls that are on the side. A tilt deck trailer is more possible, more feasible, but then it's the same kind of issue, like how you get it on, how you get it off. And this thing is expensive enough that I just don't want to make a mistake and damage it. My wide belt sander is the other machine that I would have someone take just because of the physical size of it. It's actually not that heavy compared to some of my other machines. It's just the physical size of the thing makes it a little more challenging. But again, it depends. Like if I can figure out a way to get a drop deck trailer that I can tow, that might be able to do this machine and the wide belt, maybe I'll do that. And then SCM has told me that they would have me ship this back to them in LA, and they could crate it and get it sent to us where we're gonna be at. And then we could also, you know, pay for them to get it commissioned again. It wouldn't be as extensive a commissioning. It'd probably be a day or something like that. But then we can get that thing up and running the way it ought to be up and running. These are all these things that I got to kind of mull over and think through as we're going. Luckily, I didn't finish building a lot of this stuff on the walls or whatever in the cabinets. Like the cabinets aren't done. I don't love my clamp rack system whatsoever, so that's going to be easy. Now, one great thing about buying a house with an RV garage in it is that, and having to pour this concrete over the top, is that the RV garage actually has a clean out in it and has water right next to it to use to hook up a RV while it's in the garage. Well, I'm never gonna do that, but it does give me the chance to put in a bathroom and it gives me a chance to put my slop sink in that space also. I'm working out what that looks like to get that done, but it seems like, you know, it wouldn't be a full bathroom like this. It would just be a place to go to the bathroom in. And then we'd have a slop sink on the outside, the same one that I have now. That would give me the ability to do what I do now, which it's really, if you're building a shop and you can do it, not having to go back inside your house to go to the bathroom is significant improvement of my life. Like, cause when you're out here for a long time, you get dirty, you get stuff all over you. You don't want to walk into your house and get all that stuff in your house if you don't have to. So if you can figure out a way to have the bathroom outside, I would highly recommend it. And I think my dad and I have figured this out with the new place too, to be able to make that happen. It's a lot. And I appreciate you guys if you've spent all the time to watch all the way till now. So I'm not going to make this like a bummer kind of conversation long-term during these videos. I don't want it to be a downer or whatever. This would be hopefully the last time that it would be kind of a downer scenario here. When somebody in your family like that, you know, and your wife gets diagnosed with something like, you know, early onset Alzheimer's, like it's a significant life change, and it stops being about both of you and it starts being about one of you, and it's going to be about her. So the rest of this will all just come along for the rest of the ride. So I just want to say thanks for this. It's a great outlet for me too. So I appreciate that, being able to post my stuff up there, and for you guys to give me all your like comments and whatever you give me over time. So I'll keep them coming. They'll just be maybe a little different, but I'll keep them coming. And thanks for watching, and have a good one. We'll see you on the next one.